everybody. Thank you for coming out to help celebrate the 120th anniversary of the first flight. I am Paul Wright Jameson. This boulder here commemorates the location for which my great-great-uncles Wilbur Orville first flew their powered airplane. Actually, the first attempt to fly the 1903 flyer was a few days before, on December 14th. They tried from that big hill, or wherever that big hill was back then, and they to get some downhill momentum. Wilbur and Orville and some fellows from the life-saving station helped haul the flyer up the hill along that with that wooden rail there, and Wilbur won the clay toss. The engine was cranked. The thrust of the propellers prevented the rope from fastening the flyer to the rail from getting loose. So they had to push it up a little bit and then release the flyer. And Wilbur turned up the front rudder. The flyer went up in the air nose first, but then stalled out and came down and kind of turned around and broke some of the parts of the plane. So they didn't consider it a successful first flight. But Wilbur wrote in his family that night, "There's now no question of success." They quickly repaired the flyer on December 15th and 16th. The wind wasn't greater than 16th. So on the morning of December 17th, they decided it was good enough and to hang out a flag for the signal for the men at the life-saving station to come over. 3 men showed up from the life-saving station: Will Doe, Adam Etheridge, and John Daniels. They were joined by W.D. Brinkley, who had been hanging out at the station, and Johnny Moore, a boy who just wandered by and fortuitously witnessed history. How do we know that this is the spot from which they took off? Devil Hills and the Outer Banks as a whole did not look much like this back then, 1903. A lot of shifting sand dunes. 25 years after the first flight, 3 surviving witnesses for the first flight, Will Doe, Adam Etheridge of the Life-Saving Station, and Johnny Moore, were asked by the National Aeronautical Association to try to pinpoint the spot. After looking over the landmarks, they stated in an affidavit, "We proceeded to agree upon the spot, and we individually and collectively state without the least mental reservation that the spot we located as near as correct as is humanly possible to be without the data in hand to work after a lapse of 25 years. So this is as good a spot as any." How do we know how long the flights were and how long they lasted? How far they went? In the famous picture of the first flight with Orville in the machine and Wilbur running alongside, you can't see Wilbur's right hand, but he had a stopwatch in. However, he was so excited by the plane actually taking off that he forgot to turn off the stopwatch. So they estimated the time at 12 seconds. It was an estimate. The distance was estimated at 120 feet from where the flyer lifted off from the rail. So that's where the first boulder was located. Then it was Wilbur's turn again. He too hadn't got the hang of the front rudder, so the flight was undulating, and it only lasted about 12 seconds. But the wind had died down a bit, and he traveled 175 feet. So that's the second boulder out there. Then it was Orville's turn again. He was getting the hang of the rudder, and he got an estimated 200 feet in 15 seconds to where that third boulder. For the fourth flight, Wilbur was traveling along nicely, less undulating than before, but around 800 feet or so, he had to turn up the front rudder to clear a small hummock that's clearly no longer there, and the flyer plowed into the sand. This time they took precise time and distance measurements, and they knew that Wilbur flew 852 feet in 59 seconds. Well, that's that fourth boulder out there. The gas tank on the flyer held about a half gallon of gas, and they estimated they could fly 18 minutes or travel 9 or 10 miles. So they thought that after lunch they'd go out and try to fly around the life-saving station and back. But after they got back here, and the witnesses brought their flyer back here, the wind caught it and it kind of flipped it over and it broke enough. They tried to save it, but it was just to no avail. So they decided to call it a day. They packed up and prepared to head back to Ohio so that they could be home for Christmas. Wilbur and Orville continued to work on improving their flyer and their flying technique. When they finally flew before large crowds in 1908, their lives changed. Meanwhile, the lives of the witnesses went on. They mostly stayed around here and raised families. Some of their descendants are here today to lay wreaths in their honor.
And another one. There's a child witness right there.
Who's that?
Molly Shannon. She's
Okay.
a child witness.
All right. The tradition of laying a wreath at this boulder began on the 25th anniversary in 1928 when the boulder was dedicated. William O. Sanders, the president of the Kill Devil Hills Memorials Association, which later changed its name to the First Flight Society, laid a wreath in honor of Wilbur Wright, who had died back in 1912. So, representing John Daniels, the man who squeezed the bulb on the camera that took the famous picture is Roy Daniels. Roy would like to lay a wreath at the boulder.
There's John in the picture. That's the same John Daniels in that picture.
Okay. I don't think there's anybody here from the Will Doe family, but Judith Fearing will lay a wreath. And representing W.C. Brinkley is Harry Shifter. Would you please lay a wreath? Representing Johnny Moore are Karen Brickhouse, who's a great-granddaughter, great-grandson Lee Brickhouse, Lisa Brickhouse Davis, Chloe Davis, and Emily Davis, who are great-great-granddaughters. Please lay a wreath. And representing Adam Etheridge, who is another member of the lifeguard station, are Alma Clark and Betsy Brown, Melissa Clark, and J. Matt Sackar. Thank you. Lay a wreath.
You're forgetting a witness.
Which one?
Molly Shannon.
Molly Shannon.
Right here. I didn't have a wreath, so
Okay.
I used to use her.
Representing Orville Wilbur Wright, well, that's me. My wife, Carol. Thank you all for joining us. Flyover is at 10:35. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you.